All right, so we're going to look at how to kind of review how to create a database and how to insert values into a database and create relationships between different tables in a database. And then also we'll take a look at joins, and we'll look at inner join, which can also be known as AKA just a join. And we'll look at a left join, we'll look at a right join, and we'll see how to build some queries with that. And if you're catching this online, the commands, we have this document here that we're using, and so you can take a look at that document right there, check it out, and that'll bring you to this. And then under here we have a whole bunch of examples, and then just sort of I don't know, different concepts outlined. And so we've been working with this cooking database, and make this bigger. And so to create the database, and I'm just going to review the commands here. Let me get rid of this so we could be larger text but full screen. To create the database, create database cooking, and then we list our databases \L, and then we change into the cooking database \C, and then we create a table, recipe classes. So recipe class ID int primary key, not null. So we have our field, we have our data type, and we have our constraints, field, data type, constraints. So we create recipe classes, and that's recipe class ID and recipe class description. And then we create the table recipes, and that's going to have recipe ID, recipe title, recipe class ID. So the idea here is we'll have some description. It'll be dinner, lunch, breakfast, Thanksgiving, Christmas, some description of whatever the recipe applies to. And we're just going to enter those descriptions one time, but they can be used many times. That's infinity. It's infinity, goes on forever, because if you draw it, you just keep making that loop, right? You never hit an end. It just keeps going. And so we'll use the ID here to recognize, hey, this was from this recipe class ID 4. Recipe class ID 4 it's a Thanksgiving dish or whatever. So we have ID for the recipe. Everything needs a unique ID. We have title. This one's going to be stroganoff. Then we have, it's a Oktoberfest dish. And then we have the preparation and the notes. So that's the beginning of our thing. So we create the table recipes. So recipe ID, we have the field, the primary key or the data type, and then the constraints. And then we have the field, my mouse is not working so well. Field, data type, constraints. Field, data type, constraints. And here we have our references. So for recipe class ID, this one here on the recipes table, that references, one of the constraints is it references from the recipe classes table, recipe class ID. All right, so we're kind of building that into our table as we create it. And then we have preparation and notes. So field, data type, constraints. And so you need to, if you want to get good at shooting hoops, what do you need to do? You need to shoot hoops. You want to get good at hitting tennis balls, what do you need to do? You got to hit tennis balls. You want to get good at working with a database with Sql, you need to work with a database with Sql. Like every day, if you want to master this material and at the end of this class be able to go out and get a $25 an hour job or $20 an hour job or $15 an hour, right? But if you want to get a job, you doing this stuff, every day you need to build a database. Create tables, connect the tables, insert values, drop the database, drop the table, whatever. You need to do it every day. Every day. You need to read the book, you need to highlight, and if you don't, do not wonder any longer why you're mystified, right? Do the work or you won't learn it. It's that simple. Do the work or you won't get good. Has nothing to do with a grade. So I'm not saying this to you. I'm saying this to everybody, including myself. I forget it. I went to a training this weekend, the Go programming language. And it's man, I've just let myself do other stuff. I started learning Go in 2014. If I had learned Go every day and done it every day, you know, and practiced it every day for an hour, ooh, I'd be so much better now. I didn't. There was a good stretch of a year where I didn't do anything with it. Man, wasted time. I should have been on point. But I did other stuff. So that's, you know, trade-offs. So you got to use it or you lose it or you never acquire it. And then we insert some values. So the values that we insert, Italian, French, right, into recipe classes, what kind of items are we inserting? You know, descriptions. We're inserting the key, the recipe class ID, and then the recipe class description. So we insert those 10 items. And so now that we have those 10 items into, oh, we also, where did I insert into? I never captured my insert into the other one. Let me see if I have that. Anyhow, that's going to be the first part of this video. That's just kind of getting the first part of the database set up. And so this is creating the cooking database and creating the tables and inserting recipes into the first one. That's step one. We'll see the next stuff in the next video. I like trying to keep these videos short.